What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and welcome back to the newest rebuild here in Madden 20 on the channel. This time, we're taking a look at the Cincinnati Bengals. So far in real life, have kind of looked surprising on offense. I mean, I don't think anyone thought Zach Taylor was going to be as, successful as he was early on. But I mean, he's making Andy Dalton look fairly good from a statistical standpoint. Like, Dalton feels like he's going over 400 yards every single week. So maybe they have something here, and we're going to have to figure out what we do with the quarterback situation and all that stuff going forward. As always, though, before we start the video, if you guys want to help the channel, want to support the channel, want to support this video, smash the like button. Goes a long way. If we can break, 2,000, 3,000, somewhere in that territory likes on this video, that would be greatly appreciated. So taking a look here at the Cincinnati Bengals roster. Okay, let's see what we got working with. I feel like they're going to be a little bit old, but they got some nice playmakers. So we have Andy Dalton. Honestly, we're probably going to be moving on. The reason why I wanted to do the Bengals right now is I feel like it's been a while since we were able to get a young rookie quarterback and utilize them a lot in a rebuild. I think Cincinnati in real life, even though Andy Dalton has been a little bit productive, I think ultimately they are going to be looking at getting his successor, be it, Jake Fromm, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert. I mean, they might give him another year, and then they can look at Justin Fields, Trevor. I don't know. But I do feel like Andy Dalton's time in Cincinnati is probably about up, and we'll give him one more season. This guy, though, is awesome. Dolgala, shout out to Pink Slips. This guy played like a beast. Running back. So we got Joe Mixon. He's 23, 86. I mean, a lot of people, if you watched the channel for the last couple of years, when Joe Mixon was coming out of Oklahoma, had some red flags, but I desperately wanted the Philadelphia Eagles to draft him. Didn't happen. He's been really good in Cincinnati since they did draft him. I mean, look at that. 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Probably would have had, maybe even offensive rookie of the year numbers if they gave him the starting gig right away in 2017. Like they probably should have. So, I mean, we're good for the running back spot. I think that, you got someone like Trayvon Williams, you get Rodney Anderson, who's literally like he's like a replicate of Joe Mixon. But we're good at running back long term. Bernard, for the time being, can be a nice utility weapon. But ultimately, we'll look at moving on from him. Wide receiver, so we have A.J. Green, big-time playmaker. I've noticed that Superstar X-Factor players don't regress too bad, so as long as he's open to staying on our team, we probably can hold on to him until he retires. We have Tyler Boyd, really nice option, 24. That's great for a rebuild. He is a star dev. We have John Ross, who we've seen just how dangerous John Ross can be in the sim in our Raiders franchise. That was more so when we were playing with him and controlling him. Hopefully he gets somewhat similar success, because it would be nice to have most of our wide receivers ready for the entirety of this rebuild already on the roster. At tight end, Tyler Eifert, maybe the most overrated rating in Madden 20. How'd this guy get an 87? Is beyond me, but should be fine for the time being. They drafted Drew Sample, kind of high, surprising pick out of Washington. He was like a third rounder or something. So, I mean, I would think there is a question mark over the tight end position going forward here for Cincinnati. Offensive line, they got Jonah Williams, who I think has hidden dev, so he should be our franchise left tackle, which is good. One of the O-line spots already locked down. We need a left guard. We're probably going to need Billy Price center is the spot that forever in Madden, they don't give up sacks, really. So I feel like because Billy Price does have a good dev trait, I actually think he's a really talented center that's just struggled with injuries. I think Billy Price and Jonah Williams for sure are going to be key pieces for the majority of this rebuild. Beyond that, though, this is a rough-looking offensive line, and we're probably going to have to invest some of our high picks early on. If we don't go QB, it's probably have to go offensive line. Now, looking at the defense, I'm actually going to try to see if we can flip Carlos Dunlap for like a depth offensive line. And that pains me, because he's probably my favorite player on this team. He was awesome for the Florida Gators, but there's just too much depth. Carl Lawson and Sam Hubbard are on the right side at 25. They both have good dev traits. They both kind of need to play sooner than later. So thinking about this rebuild, trying to find a way to maybe flip Carlos Dunlap for an offensive line with some upside is what we're going to try to do before we jump into the rebuild, which, again, it sucks. I'm a huge fan, but it is what it is. We have Geno Atkins at D-tackle, one of the most consistent and slightly underrated defensive tackles in the National Football League. I think he's top 5. We have Billings, 70. I mean, probably got to look long-term at really building up the interior of this defensive line. We have Vigil at linebacker, not great. I've actually seen Jermaine Pratt develop very nicely in Madden. I thought this was an outstanding pick. He was a guy that I definitely wanted my Philadelphia Eagles to look at. Maybe got him around higher than I would have expected, but I think we might be able to develop Jermaine Pratt into a serviceable linebacker. But outside of that, I mean, Jordan Evans looks like a nice user, but is he going to be good in the sim? He'll have an opportunity year one to see if he can catch on. Linebackers have been potent to getting dev traits. So 23, you have Jordan Evans who's 24. If one of these guys can somehow earn a star, get a scenario during the season, they could definitely become viable, and that's one less position we have to worry about trying to draft or sign in free agency. William Jackson, nice corner, 26, so he should be good for this rebuild. Outside of that, there are some corners. I mean, Denard, who's been not a first-round bust, but also not really a first-round player. That contract's not too big, but Drake Kirkpatrick's contract, you definitely want to try to get that off the books. 78 normal looks bad. Denard is 77 star. He's 27. 27 is, 25 and below is the ideal age in a 5-year rebuild, clearly, because 30 is when you start to regress. I can work with 26, 27, not so much. Free safety, Jesse Bates, the third. I mean, I've been a massive, when they drafted him last year, this was my favorite pick the Cincinnati Bengals made. I thought this was tremendous value. I was shocked that he got slept. I think he was probably because he was a redshirt sophomore, and people thought maybe he needed another year in college, something like that. But Jesse Bates at Wake Forest was a tackle machine. He was my IDP player last year. I used him in all my games. He was dominant. I think this is an awesome pick, an awesome player, and he's going to be the face of one of the faces, anyways, of this defense going forward. Already has a skill point starting into the game up to an 82 overall. I think we have potential X factor, a guy that can grow into a superstar X factor safety on our hands. Sean Williams is solid. Actually had really good stats last year. Kind of inflated, but for the time being, he's a solid, strong safety and gives us time to eventually get his replacement. Their special teams unit is just average, so there's a lot of ups and downs. It's a roster that has lots of good youth pieces. It has some intrigue over the quarterback spot, who can be our option. But for me right now, as much as it pains me to do, I'm going to try my best and see if we can flip Carlos Dunlap for literally a tackle or a guard that could have some potential upside. All right, it didn't cost us as nearly as much as I thought, but Forrest Lamp, a 69 star dev guard, we're able to flip Bobby Hart and D-tackle Andrew Billings. Now, I didn't want to get rid of Billings. I thought Billings, when he was coming out, was the best defensive tackle or top 3 defensive tackle in his draft, and I actually have seen him develop very nicely. But we need offensive line more than we need D-line. We have Rennell Wren from Arizona State as someone that we could potentially develop. So getting an offensive lineman, and Forrest Lamp was pretty much the only depth lineman, even though he's kind of a starter, not really, that had a generous dev trait. So there we go. Forrest Lamp, welcome to the Cincinnati Bengals. And at least we're sending Carlos Dunlap to a good spot. I'm rewarding him because we're not going to be a playoff contender. We flipped Carlos Dunlap and a 4th-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles, who desperately need edge rush help right now for Philly Goddard, backup tight end. Yeah, it is what it is, man. A little bit of a cheese, slightly. Yeah, because we're an Eagles fan. A lot of Eagle fan knows that the upside of Dallas Goddard. But for the sake of Madden doesn't use 2 tight ends. It's a big upgrade for us. Last trade, because we brought in Dallas Goddard and made Tyler Eifert a commodity for a team that's desperate for a tight end. And the team that was desperate for a tight end, more so than any in the league, was the Jacksonville Jaguars. There was really no one on the roster I really wanted. But Ronnie Harrison, 72, he's a solid young depth guy. I think he's their 3rd safety right now. He might be their starter in real life, but I think he's like their 3rd, 2nd starting safety. So I mean, there is some upside there, even though we don't necessarily need him. But we flipped Tyler Eifert for a 5th and a 6th to the Jacksonville Jaguars for Ronnie Harrison. So at face value, looks like we just got robbed. But Harrison does have a star dev trait. And, I mean, we could just kind of move on from Sean. We'll have Sean Williams now be our 3rd safety, and we throw Ronnie Harrison back there with Jesse Bates to get a really good young safety core. Now from the bye, we are hot trash 1-7. I'm kind of glad we traded away those veterans so they don't have to deal with this as we take on the 7-1 Baltimore Ravens. We do have a breakout player. We've already gone 2 for 2 for breakout scenarios. We got one for John Ross. We got one for Jermaine Pratt. I don't know who this is. Tyler Boyd, 3 touchdowns, 150 yards rushing or receiving. I'm going to hop in and just pad the stats against Baltimore and try and get that. We'll pop back if we do achieve it. Contracts, what do we got here for contracts? AJ Green, you're still good enough that you're worth this contract. Plus, we got rid of a lot of fat contracts so that you can pretty much stay here. Other than that, there is a lot of just garbage that we don't really need to worry about retaining or really anything like that. Denard's only going up 1 point. I feel like we can just get younger in the secondary. So, yeah, AJ Green, you're the only guy that we're retaining because obviously you're the Bengals and you're AJ Green. At the end of year 1, we were straight garbage. At one point, we played an 0-14 Dolphins team. Still lost. 3-13 on the year. Gives us, with the one loss of the Dolphins, gives us the number 2 overall pick in the draft. So we're going to be able to definitely do something with that. Statistically speaking, I mean, we're getting our quarterback. Andy Dalton was awful. 3,000 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, 13 picks, 61% completion. You gone. Sorry. Mixon was fine for given how not, complete this offensive line is. Still going for 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns. Acceptable. Tyler Boyd led the team, 64 catches, 876, and 4. We unfortunately did not break that scenario. That's why I didn't show it to you. We do have a positive one to talk about, but he's still stuck at a star. AJ Green was not great. Dallas Goedert was fine. John Ross was also fine. And I mentioned earlier he did get a star increase throughout the season. He's up to an 81 overall. Defensively, Preston Brown, tackle machine, 127 tackles, 12 TFLs, 2.5 sacks. Jermaine Pratt, monster, man. I knew he was going to be good. And we moved him outside linebacker. He's up to a star dev, 82 overall. Because, you have a rookie season of 117 tackles, 12 TFLs, 5 sacks, 2 picks. You're starting to get into Darius Leonard territory. So that is one hell of a year. 11 sacks from Carl Lawson, 13 TFLs. He is the big stunner for a dev trait boost. He started with a star. He needed, I think, 2 sacks or 2 or 3 sacks. It was a defensive effort, and he got up to a superstar dev. So that's great considering the fact that, we dumped off Carlos Dunlap, and a guy like Carl Lawson being able to step up and really fill that void right away was a huge get for our defense. Yearly awards, MVP went to Baker Mayfield. I don't think we're going to see very many, if any, Cincinnati Bengals here until we get to the rookies. Defense player, they went to Shazier. Jermaine Pratt coming in at number 3. Preston Brown at 8. Offensive rookie, they went to Josh Jacobs with Drew Sample. I mean, those guys didn't even really play. Defense rookie of the year, Jermaine Pratt. Awesome. If we can get another dev trait and get him from star to superstar, that would be unreal. QB went to Baker Mayfield. Running back, wide receiver line. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Got nothing there. So fingers crossed on a dev trait increase for Jermaine Pratt. And we got the number 2 overall pick for the draft. Let's find ourselves a quarterback. Fortunately, at the end of the year, Jermaine Pratt did not go up in dev trade, but that's still fine, man. Having a 24-year-old linebacker that's an 83 scheme fit star dev is pretty damn good. 92 tackle. You got a tremendous athlete. 84 power, 85 pursuit. Not too bad for a guy that used to play safety for NC State. Going into our first free agency period, 2 top targets. We got Deshaun Davis, more so for an underrated linebacker. I don't know why he got cut or whatever reason, but we have an opening spot at right outside linebacker between him and Jordan Evans. That could be a nice, healthy competition. And then Mike Hilton, formerly of the Steelers, has a superstar dev. He's 26 scheme fit. No other bids on him, so hopefully we can kind of land a little bit of a big fish here and definitely improve our secondary where really Drake Kirkpatrick and Darqueze Dennard aren't necessarily cutting it. All right, it is draft time. The Dolphins are number 1 overall. Probably going to go quarterback. And they go Chase Young. We're going to have our opportunity at any quarterback that we want in the draft. Let's go. So here's a look at the board, how it shapes up. We have to go quarterback. We have used Tua before. I mean, that's not going to make it, exclusive. We put him on the Patriot. It was it was a weird rebuild. But really, there's 2 big quarterback prospects to talk about in this year's draft class. You have Jake Fromm from Georgia, who personally I don't rate very highly, but he will be a first-round quarterback, and we'll definitely get some form of a rebuild treatment. But I think for the time being, you pick it 2, you get, and I might have Tua slightly ahead of Justin Herbert right now as of, September 28th, 2019. But I think Justin Herbert has every bit of ability to become a franchise quarterback. And I think more so when you look at what I think Zach Taylor wants in a quarterback, I think Justin Herbert would be the perfect pick for the Miami Dolphins, Cincinnati Bengals, if they found themselves in this scenario where, just saying, the Miami Dolphins just took Chase Young. You can't fault them for taking Chase Young. He is ridiculous. But I think for us here in Cincinnati, Justin Herbert will be the pick at number 2 overall. You got the A+ throw power, 6'5", 220, and he comes out 74 hidden dev trait, so it's going to be at least a star. 92 throw power, 81 deep, 82 mid, 84 short. He's a great athlete, man. 79 speed, 80 acceleration. We're going to get a lot more production out of him, I think, than Andy Dalton in this Zach Taylor offense. all of our trades as we went in the draft. I mean, we did get Mike Hilton and Deshaun Davis, the outside linebacker. You saw we got Herbert, but we didn't have much more draft capital, so we had to make them count, and we did. In the second round, we got Bryce Hall, the cornerback from Virginia, so pairing that with Mike Hilton, a complete retooling of our secondary. Bryce Hall, normal dev, but regardless, one of the top corners in the nation. I don't think I'm too scared off by that depth trade. I think he's going to develop nicely for us. Almost a scheme fit. Third round, we got Ben Cleveland. We wanted to bring in a guard between him and Navon Donaldson from Miami. We just decided to go Ben Cleveland because I think I've used Navon Donaldson in 1 or 2 rebuilds before. He's still a nice prospect, 94 strength, absolute powerhouse, and has an opportunity to start for us as a rookie. And then the 7th round, we got Chase Vinatieri, kicker, nephew, I believe, of Adam Vinatieri out of South Dakota State, 67 overall, 88 kick power, 78 accuracy, has some upside. Time to change the guard here and get just get so much younger on the defense. Sean Williams, you're freeing up almost $4 million worth of cap. We have Drake Kirkpatrick, who's going to free up almost $9 million, or almost $10 million actually worth of cap. And the big whale gone out the offense, Andy Dalton, only $200,000 hit, $17 million. Bye-bye. Here with the Cincinnati Bengals, we got a brand new quarterback, franchise quarterback, one of the better young, promising rosters, I think, in the National Football League. Herbert is going to be our starter, 22, 74, hidden dev, Mixon 89. Wide receiver, we still got AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, John Ross. We brought in DeMarcus Robinson in free agency. We got some nice value in free agency for some depth move guys at the end because there was some nice value presenting itself. Jonah Williams up to a 78 overall, almost into the 80s. His dev trade was unlocked. It was just a star. We have at left guard, Ben Cleveland will be starting, 68 overall. Center, Billy Price up to a 72. We got John Miller still at right guard, and then Forrest Lamp here at right tackle. Overall, the dev trades are nice on this offensive line, but I mean, we gave up a lot to get Forrest Lamp. And actually, no, we didn't. We didn't really give up that much, to be completely honest with you. But I would be really nice if these guys with the dev traits can continue to grow, and we can get like at least, when all is said and done this year, maybe 75 for like the average offensive line overall rating. Hubbard 78 overall as a defensive end. Shaq Lawson 86. We got Geno Atkins. Malik Collins was still chilling there in free agency. And figured why not bring him in. Jermaine Pratt up to an 84. Preston Brown 78. Deshaun Davis will be our starter. He was one of our 2 key free agency signings. He's 73. In the secondary, William Jackson, Mike Hilton, that superstar dev nickel, and Bryce Hall will be our starting corners, with Jesse Bates and Ronnie Harrison bringing up in the safety tandems. Overall, I don't think we're going to be the second worst team in the league, I guess, here for year 2 of the rebuild. Halfway point of the year, Herbert 6 snaps away from unlocking his dev trade, but he went from a plus five in almost as many weeks. That is exceptional. We are here week 9, 5-2. There has to be something under the hood in the algorithm. When you draft a quarterback in the first round, they just play very good. I mean, let's see, where's Herbert at? At least top 10 in touch. I'll take 10th in touchdowns. That's the most important thing, not so much about the yards. So we got some contracts here to think about. First up, we have Joe Mixon. I think his performance last season, with everyone else being around him, just not great. Shows volumes to how well he's going to play in the sim. So we'll make sure we can lock him up. Carl Lawson, 8. Oh my God. It's a lot of money, but worth the money, I'm sure. We want William Jackson. We want Deshaun. We want John Ross. We built this team. We've cut a lot of the veterans to ensure that we can retain a lot of the younger guys. So I, first of all, can't believe Forrest Lamp's not taking that deal. I gave you a chance. I get you out of that purgatory, offensive line purgatory known as the Chargers. So Forrest Lamp, William Jackson, and Joe Mixon. We're going to make sure we can retain all of those guys. And we're still going to have some decent money in case a juicy, tasty free agent becomes available, much like Mike Hilton last season. In year 2, I'll tell you right now, there's a trend that I've noticed. We got a contract extension here that you lose 3 in a row. Almost every single season. Just pay attention. It's come time. I'm gonna say it's between like week 10 and 15. You almost always lose 3 in a row. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just paranoid, but really, really competitive AFC North. 10 wins, well above and beyond what I thought we'd be at this season with the rookie Justin Herbert. And you can just see how competitive it was. Probably first team out, I would say, in the AFC. Yep, absolutely first team out. 9-7 Broncos made the playoffs. Hey, the team's trending in the right direction. You look at Justin Herbert, 3,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, 7 picks. Now, that is kind of the purgatory for quarterbacks here in rebuilds and sims when they get around that 30 touchdown, around 10 pick range. So hopefully that is just the beginning for Justin Herbert. Running the ball, Joe Mixon, phenomenal again, almost 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns. Rodney Anderson also chipping in there for some good production. 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns for Tyler Boyd. 785 and 3 for AJ Green. 630 and 8 for Dallas Goedert, who without a shadow of a doubt had the most growth this season. He had 2 scenarios. He failed the first one to go from a star to a superstar, but he got the second one. He's now a 89 overall superstar tight end, making that trade with the Eagles look that much more just filthy. We robbed them a little bit. Preston Brown, back-to-back years leading the team in tackles with 112. He also had 2.5 sacks. We got 13 TFLs, 9 sacks from Carl Lawson. We got that brand new $86 million deal. Jermaine Pratt, very productive yet again. Very disappointing from Sam Hubbard. He's going to be one of these guys coming up for a contract year. He's an old rookie, so he's going to be 27, 28, getting into that second contract. Might not be able to re-sign him. His production has not been there, even though, his stats are fairly good. William Jackson, 3 picks. We got 2 picks from Mike Hilton. All that I am okay with. Yearly awards, MVP went to Tom Brady. And the man we decided not to... Oh, no. This is going to be an annoying rebuild. Tua went to the Saints. So y'all probably should know what that means by now. Offensive Player of the Year in the AFC went to Tom Brady, with Justin Herbert coming in at number 10. Defensive Player of the Year, Josie Jewell. Jermaine Pratt at number 9. Offensive Rookie of the Year went to Justin Herbert. Give me a dev trait. I will say I have noticed that the Rookies of the Year, the dev traits don't come. I don't think I've got it. It'd be interesting to see if we can actually hit on it this season. Defensive Rookie of the Year went to Grant Delpit of the Tennessee Titans. Bryce Hall coming in at number 7. For individual awards, we did not have any of those winners, but we had some pretty good individual success, some great team success. Very, very unfortunate not to make the playoffs here in year 2. Let's get a quick turnaround, hop into year 3. 2 skill point upgrades for Justin Herbert, but no superstar X factor. I don't know. Maybe rookies can't get that. I don't know. Draft recap as we get ready for year 3. It was a solid draft. Wasn't a sexy draft. In the first round, we got Marquise Hayes, guard from Oklahoma, 73. Hidden dev trait. Awesome. Anytime you get a hidden dev trait, he's one of them highest recruited guards I think I remember in quite some time. So while he's not a scheme fit, we absolutely needed to bring in another guard to kind of finish out our offensive line. The rest of the draft, we didn't get any studs. We did okay. We got Sermon, LaChristian Smith out of Ohio State, wide receiver. Tupulutu from USC, Terrace Marshall from LSU. We got Ronnie Perkins double dipping on the Oklahoma. And here's one I actually thought was going to be a great value. It's not bad. We got Anthony Hines, middle linebacker from Texas A&M. 67 overall, even though he has morale boost. Didn't want to come to Cincinnati. Why not? We're on the rebound, baby. But we got a brand new starting offensive lineman that has a whole lot of upside. So it's not a terrible draft. Just didn't really get a lot of value outside of round number 1. How quickly of a turnaround we had from having like the worst, well, the Dolphins are there, but probably the second worst roster, bottom 5 worst roster, to 85 offense, 85 defense. How everything shapes up here. So we have Herbert at quarterback, Mixon. We'd love to see him get a dev trait boost. I don't know when and if it's going to come. Tyler Boyd at some point got a dev trait going from star to superstar. Was it playoffs? Made the Pro Bowl. Cool. You got AJ Green still hanging on there. John Ross looking nice on the offense. We're going to have it, when all is said and done, at least 4 star devs here on the O-line. Philly Goddard. Still call him Philly Goddard. Shout out to the Toronto Huskies. Dallas Goedert, looking like one of the best tight ends in football. On the defensive side, we have our superstar in Lawson. We signed a superstar at Hilton 2 years ago. He was solid last season. Atkins still doing his thing, still hanging on. Really want to see a big year from Hubbard. See if he wants to get himself a new contract or not. Pratt's been phenomenal, up to an 87 overall. It's good, man. I like this. I really like this defense from top to bottom. I think just maybe we'll do enough to get in the playoffs here in year 3. Another week 8 bye, good midweek bye. We're 3-4 on the season, which doesn't look amazing given the fact that we were a 10-win team a year ago. But the AFC North, peaks and valleys. Last year was without a shadow the best division of football. This year, 500 is leading the division, so it's still wide open without the second half of the season to play. Looking at contracts, first up, Dallas Goedert, absolutely one hell of a trade to make. I can't recommend enough if you want to try to trade for a tight end. Look no further than Philadelphia. We have Jesse Bates, has been really, really good for us. 3 years, 17 mil. We'll make sure we come back to the table. Man, safety contracts, I mean, I know safeties aren't as valued anymore as they were a decade ago, but my God, safety contracts in Madden are phenomenal. We want Billy Price here still to be the anchor of our offensive line. He's developing nicely. I mean, he started, what, a 65 overall? Now he's up to a 77. So outside of that, I really want to see what Sam Hubbard's done so far this season to see if he's worth getting a contract negotiation. Let's see. Get a quick little sneak peek of our stats here. This lovely 3 and 4. Herbert playing like a top 10 QB. That's a real good stat line. But I want to look at the defense. What is Hubbard doing? Nope. No contract for you. Usually in rebuilds, we will sign our good players almost no matter what. But I'm going to make a stand here. You know, we're taking a pause on the realistic rebuilds. And now, if you're not performing, I don't care if you look great on paper. You're just not getting, especially almost $30 million. Just kiss my ass. We will definitely come back to the table for Jesse Bates. But Hubbard, goodbye. Best of luck to you. We had playoffs locked up. Lost our last 2 games against the Raiders and Browns. And outside looking in. 8-8. I know Justin Herbert played well this season because I saw him win Player of the Week 3 different times. And I remember old Maddens, at least Madden 19, Player of the Week would give you something. I feel like that should be a dev trait boost. But I know he's playing well, so it's not like we made a bad decision at quarterback or anything like that. We got a stinker. This team, 91 offense, 89 defense. It's definitely on the come-ups, but through 3 years, the fact that we have nothing really to show for it in terms of team success, very frustrating. From a statistical standpoint, 4,200 yards, 40 touchdowns, 14 picks for Justin Herbert. We got 1,300 yards, 5 touchdowns for Joe Mixon. Herbert also got 2, so he had 42 touchdowns on the year. We might have an MVP case on our hands, but rarely do you see like this kind of passing numbers and the running back still to be good. Usually you see a running back with like 700 yards when your QB plays like that, but Mixon has been very, very good. Tyler Boyd, outstanding season. 83 catches, 1,400 yards, 18 touchdowns. That is a premier wide receiver right there. Goddard, almost 1,000. Well, not almost 1,000, but 79 catches, 900 yards, 8 touchdowns. Those are top. That's top 5 tight end number. AJ Green, 805, 530, and 3 for Ross. Mixon was decent option of the backfield. Pratt, 104 tackles, 8 TFLs, 3 sacks, 10.5 sacks for Carl Lawson. So we were, we're playing well. We're playing well. Like there's like our interceptions are fine. We're getting a guy that has double-digit sacks. Our running back's playing good. Our quarterback is insanely hot. Just couldn't get it. Just couldn't put it together. MVP. Oh, come on, man. 42 touchdowns puts you at 9. Let me see this shit. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay. Oof, that's good enough. Just feels really good. Let's get full quarterback stats here. How does 42 touchdowns put me at 9? Mayfield 38-9. Not as many as me. Who won the MVP? Josh Allen 30. I mean, these are all pretty good numbers to be honest with you, but I feel Justin Herbert coming at 9, man. That is a little too harsh. A little too harsh for me. Offensive player you went to Josh Allen. He does 42 touchdowns. Doesn't even give you a top 10. Cool. Jermaine Pratt made that list. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Well, it's good to know that Trevor Lawrence is just down the road in Pittsburgh. Herbert got best quarterback. He got something. He got some sort of award. Tyler Boyd, best wide receiver. So fingers crossed we might get a dev trait from that. But let's hop in the offseason after another disappointing year. Year 4, better luck. Come on. But give me your microphone. To give some good news to the season, go to upgrade my quarterback here, Justin Herbert. Make him a nice field general. I see a nice little bazooka emblem next to that overall, which means he has grown from a superstar to a superstar X Factor. We got bazooka ability, we got lofting deadeye, anchored extender, clutch, pocket lead, and when we actually hit that 90 overall, we will have a full freak quarterback to utilize in year 4. Here at Free Agent, we're going to spend a little bit of money here. I know we're going to have to re-sign Justin Herbert, so we can't go super crazy. If we could, I would try to, pull in Leighton Vander Esch, move middle linebacker, Jair Alexander, one of my favorite corners in the National Football League. You got Gal. I mean, there's some really intriguing names, but we're gonna have to go for like the middle tier free agents. So first off, I got looking at Lorenzo Alexander and sign him and move him to defensive end. And there's no other bids on him. I mean, his depth trait's not great, but we have seen some solid production from him. We did the Giants' realistic rebuild. And then we got Dorian O'Daniel. He is a star dev 79 outside linebacker. I feel we should be able to flop him inside. Maybe only take a 1 or 2 point overall hit, but we have that strong dev trait, and linebackers do develop nicely in my system. So what big dog were we able to add to the team via the draft? And big dog, literally, we got DeMarvin Leal from Texas A&M, 73 with a hidden dev trait. Geno Atkins isn't getting any younger, so this is going to be his long-term replacement. Uber talented, very versatile, athletic. We got George Pickens out of Georgia in the second round, 68. Just normal. I mean, but he could grow and develop a little bit. DJ Scaife from Miami. And I'm not going to lie, pretty much the draft wasn't that great, but it was top-heavy, and we got some nice playmakers. Looking at where our team is at as we enter this season, we got Lorenzo Carter. We signed as an outside linebacker. He's going to be playing defensive end. Geno Atkins still solid, 83 superstar. Lawson's a 90. Actually, X Factor for Atkins, superstar for Lawson. Hilton, 88 superstar. We got Jermaine Pratt, 89 superstar. Dorian O'Daniel, we signed him as an outside linebacker, slid him inside. He's up to an 80. Secondary's good. This team's well-rounded, but offense is where we get huge boost. Herbert got an X Factor. Tyler Boyd at some point last season, I assume, wide receiver of the year. Got himself superstar X Factor. And then Dallas Goedert, who has been a godsend, God since we brought him in, made the Pro Bowl, and got an X Factor dev trait as well. So the offense looking a little top heavy right now, but I feel like we're going to get our first divisional title here this season. And I know it's the year 4. It's the weird year of the rebuilds. This team's really damn good. The year 4 finally making the playoffs. 12-4 are your Bengals, and we're a tie away from getting a divisional. We could just not win the division. We played well, though. We played well. Our team's very good. Offensive heavy, 95 offense, and they flexed their muscles. Almost 4,000 passing yards, 34 touchdowns, 4 picks for Justin Herbert. We had 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns for Joe Mixon, 8 touchdowns for Rodney Anderson. Receiving standpoint, 82 for 1,000 and 11 from Tyler Boyd, 910 from Dallas Goedert. We got 850 and 5 from John Ross. And then when you take a look on the defense, Dorian O'Daniel making pretty good impact from his first year as a free agent. 95 tackles, 3 picks, 13.5 sacks from Carl Lawson, 10 TFLs, 8 sacks from Lorenzo Carter, our other free agency signing, and the picks looked pretty good. And then taking a look at the award winners, don't really know where we're going to fall. Lamar Jackson is your MVP. We're just not showing up on a lot of these. Zach Taylor, number 4 for Coach of the Year. Offensive Player of the Year went to Le'Veon Bell. Herbert coming in at 6. Defensive Player of the Year went to Joe Schobert. No one. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Nope. Okay. Not a lot of individuals, but we made the playoffs. Made the playoffs for the first time. Let's go on a run. We're 12-4. We're taking on, I would assume, Jacoby Brissett and the 9-7 Colts. All right, let's see how our X Factors perform in the sim. I've always had kind of a hunch that your X Factors give you an added boost in the sim. I could be completely wrong, way off base. But this is a Bengals team that's desperate. This is a franchise that's desperate for a playoff win. I could not tell you the last time the Bengals got a playoff win. This is without a doubt the most talented Bengals team they've had since Chad Johnson, TJ Who's Your Mama, and Carson Palmer were throwing the rock, okay? So, come on. Let's get them at least one playoff win through 4 years would be a huge victory here for the Cincinnati Bengals. And a 9-7. We're a 12-win Bengals team, so we should be able to beat a 9-win Colts team, right? Even though we're not playing well here down the stretch. Defense gets a stand. We get a go-ahead touchdown, put us up 5 with a $112 to go, and we shit the bed. Awesome. We've been signing more free agents in this rebuild than we have in pretty much any other, so why not let that stop? Now, the third biggest free agent, Stephon Tuitt, formerly of the Steelers. We're going to sign and make him our D tackle, as Geno Atkins did decide to retire this year. I think AJ Green retired as well. But we have depth at wide receiver. We need that depth inside, so Tuitt would be a great get to this defensive line. And our final draft recap of the rebuild. We went Alabama running back. I feel like running back 2 was the only spot because we had Rodney Anderson. He wasn't really developing. He's stuck at a 72. So I was like, maybe we can get one of the talented running backs here to form a healthy tandem with Joe Mixon And so that's why we went Zach Evans, 75 hidden dev trait. Is another great Alabama running back. Outside of that, we got Williams from Oregon, Wingo from Florida, Roger Rosengarten from Washington, 67, and the rest of the picks here were pretty much just depth chart moves. Now our final team's going to stack up on paper. No real dev trait changes. Offensive line still really solid. I'd say average overall, probably 82. Goddard 93 X Factor, Boyd 93 X Factor, Herbert 93 X Factor, Mixon 92. We had in Evans, John Ross. We have no more AJ Green, but we got Akeem Butler as a free agent, big-bodied scheme fit, formerly of the Cardinals, 6'5", 227 out of Iowa State. On the defensive side, we have a brand new X Factor in Jermaine Pratt. This guy has been an absolute god, unstoppable force. That's probably the best one. I mean, let's be honest, it's between unstoppable force and enforcer are the two abilities you really want on the defensive side of the ball. So he got it. Stephon Tuitt was an 86 defensive end, signed him, moved into a D tackle to take over for Geno Atkins, and he got shot up to an 89 overall. So overall, this is you always want to be peaking as you go to a year 5 Super Bowl bust scenario, and this is a very strong Cincinnati Bengals team. Can we get their first playoff win in 40 or ever? I feel like in well, it's not ever because they used to have the Ken Anderson days, but the first playoff win in 30 years. I feel like it's coming this season. Finish out Week 17, final game of the regular season of the rebuild, 52-27 domination over divisional rival Pittsburgh Steelers, giving us an outright title, even though the Browns were very close. We got 13-3, Cleveland 11-5. That's our first divisional title. We're only going to finish this rebuild with one divisional title, which is kind of ridiculous given how good this team's been. We're peaking, 92 overall, 97-95. When you look at the stats, Justin Herbert, 3,700 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 picks. He's been amazing. He's been absolutely amazing. And the best thing about this rebuild is when we use a drafted quarterback, we get away without having to have a $100 million plus contract on our books if that pick does work out. So it gave us a lot of flexibility here to have a competitive roster top to bottom. Joe Mixon has been probably the MVP of this rebuild. 1,400 yards, 14 touchdowns. He has been outstanding. Let's see. We got so yeah, he's averaged 1,200 yards, probably 9 touchdowns. 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns every single year. He's been outstanding. Considering, maybe I'm just still in that Madden 19 mode where running backs rarely go over 1,000 yards. Joe Mixon has been very good. I'm giving him a resounding 10 out of 10. The receiving, Tyler Boyd also has been a god. 89 catches, 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns. Really bringing in Justin Herbert, elevated his game. Let's see. So we had Herbert there. So he's never gone less than 1,000 yards with Justin Herbert. 18 touchdowns, 11, 13. He is a monster. John Ross has been fine. Dallas Goedert's been good. Akeem Butler, fine. And then on the defensive side, Dorian O'Daniel, 112 tackles, 10 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, 2 picks. Looking like a great value pickup when we signed him as a little bit under the radar free agency signing. Carl Lawson, 15 TFLs, 8.5 sacks. He's been pretty good too, man. Look at that. 11, 9, 10.5, 13.5, 8.5, dipping down just a little bit. But I would say, whereas if we had a nitpick, the issues last year in Madden from a sim standpoint were obviously mobile quarterbacks. It was running back struggling to go over 1,000 yards. And I'd like to think, wide receivers, elite wide receivers. And I feel like in this year, I've experienced, some of obviously mobile quarterbacks got fixed. But I would feel like, you could say this season, along with elite wide receivers not producing, sacks are few and far between unless you have a premier Myles Garrett type guy. You're not getting a lot of sacks, but Carl Lawson has been able to ding that bell and get a lot of production on the outside. Jesse Bates, 4 picks. Turnovers, generally very good for this defense. Yearly awards, MVP went to Justin Fields. They don't care about Cincinnati, I guess. They do not care about us. Justin Herbert just 35 touchdowns, 4 picks on the number 1 team in the league. Let's just put him at number 10. That's a sympathy. That's a sympathy spot. Dorian O'Daniel, 10. They're just acting. Hey, we got best running back in Joe Mixon, which means unfortunately in our final year, he's probably gonna get himself a superstar dev trade off of that, and we're not gonna be able to utilize it. Very annoying. But number 1 seed, got a divisional title, still searching for that first playoff win. And it's you can almost say Bengals history. That's how long it's been. So we're kicking things off. I'm going to be hopping in and playing. I'm excited to play with Justin Herbert and company as we take on the 9-7 Tennessee Titans. Oh, one-handed. Dallas got her. I thought that was going to be a pick for sure. Had the superstar safety drop it down. One-handed catch. Dallas Goedert keeps this drive alive. Oh, Rodney Anderson. Okay, 3rd and 6, taking the screen. Was a little upset it wasn't Joe Mixon, but Rodney Anderson. Oh, Mixon untouched. I mean, I've heard one report as an Eagle fan that Dallas Goedert's like having an extra tackle up there that can just make one-handed catches like Odell. And that might have been a report from me, a quote from me, but that was outstanding blocking there. Billy Price, Marquise Hayes, and there you go. Oh, you're not going to put John Ross in the slot and think you have a chance, are you? Oh, because they brought the blitz, and Kevin Byard got home. All right, see what we can do here. 3rd and goal on the 10. I don't really like the playbook. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a huge fan of this Bengals playbook. But we'll throw it up anyways. John Ross catches it. It was for Dallas Goedert, but sometimes you fall ass backwards into success. Look at Jared Goff. There we go. We'll take that. And then Tyler Boyd showing off the X Factor. Not very fast. If that was a foot race for much longer, Dory Jackson might have made that tackle. Are you telling me right now the Titans have Grant Delpit and Kevin Byard as their safeties? We need to respect them a little bit more, but that was just slants cheese. We'll pull that much further ahead. We're probably a touchdown away from simming this one out. Put the mercy rule in effect. All right, get the white flag out. Mixon, C4 special. He feels good. He feels good to C4 special. Good to know we have that in our tool chest for next week's championship. All right, sim it out. All right, I guess this is just, it's too much. The Titans don't stand a chance. Dropping, can we get a 50 bomb? A 50 bomb would feel real good. A 50 bomb would feel real good. Oh, we took mercy. We took mercy. Look at that haircut. What are you? Do you think you're like, it's 2009 and it's a Jersey Shore and you're still 50, Mike Vrabel? Huh? Busting with the boys, hashtag. We got the job done here. Great performance, top to bottom. Defense played well in the sim. Offense, when we were controlling it, felt great. But absolutely, just felt great. 4 touchdowns, Justin Herbert. Marcus Mariota didn't even look like he belonged. As we're moving on to the AFC Championship game, and we got that just impossible, seemingly impossible Cincinnati Bengals playoff win. My God. We've had 5 passing attempts, and we've been sacked 4 of the 5 times. It's going to be a long day, boys. Not looking good for the Bengals Super Bowl hopes. All right, we're going to give it this drive. If we get sacked a bunch of times, I'm going to take the chances that the sim might be able to play a little bit better than I have. We'll start it off with a very not great throw. A little bit of a high pass to Goedert, but enough for a first down. All right, we're rolling. We're on the 6. Goedert is in his X Factor, which I'm not exactly sure what it does. Hopefully it makes him, I don't know, get 2 touchdowns. You know, for every touchdown he gets, it actually counts as 14 points. That'd be awesome. That's what we need at this point. 2nd and goal on the 4. We had to put on conservative ball carrier moves because they have Derwin James, which really limits a lot of our big playability, which is annoying, but it's what you have to do when you go up against Derwin James. So let's see, 3rd and goal on the 2. I mean, we do got 6'6" tight end, or he's pretty much a tight end here, and Akeem Butler, and he runs himself into coverage. Doesn't break off. 4th and goal on the 2. C4 special. We're going to see. This is the closest we've got without getting sacked every single play. A field goal would not be the worst thing, and I like the fact that Joe Mixon is panting. So that's going to give us full explosiveness on the outside. Oh, and I forgot we didn't have ball carrier moves on. Didn't have a chance at hitting the juke just because of strictly who you're going up against in the Chargers. That's kind of annoying. All right, we're simming this one. I'm done. It's not. It just feels like it's not gonna. You know, the game plan wasn't right. And ultimately, it's not gonna go our favor here today. I mean, at the end of the day, my logic is this. I do like to add some gameplay. Always like sprinkling in some gameplay. But there comes a point where the team that you built in this world that you're playing in, this 93, 94 overall Bengals team, there's something there that's going to have to go in terms of do I have to control this 93 overall team for me to try to win a Super Bowl? Or can the game actually properly function where the top team performs like a Super Bowl caliber team? And we weren't getting that. We weren't getting that treatment. We didn't get a favorable roll of the randomized dice here for the Bengals rebuild. And we ran into a Chargers team that had Joey Bosa just bullying our offensive linemen. You know, again, there has been growing debate of turning off the X Factor abilities. I like them, and I almost like them as much as I hate them. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like X Factor abilities are still pretty good. Probably should leave them on, but there's just some of them are super annoying, and we don't really get to see a whole lot. So unfortunately, that is how the rebuild of the Bengals ends. We got a playoff win. We built them into probably the top team in the AFC. It's just, you know, Madden didn't want us to win this one. So thank you guys for watching. As always, let me know in the comment section below what team you want to see next week on the rebuilds. I will, you know, I usually do the top request one. I know a lot of people want to see one like this, that we utilized one of the top quarterbacks in college football. And Justin Herbert was a beast, man. We got up to a Superstar X Factor. So that was pretty fun. And we got a playoff win for the Bengals. And now I'm trying to just not get too frustrated with how everything went down here today, because pretty frustrated at this given time. So thank you guys for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like buttons. Definitely helps out my channel, helps out my videos a whole lot. So that'd be awesome. Subscribe if it's your first time stopping by. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.
Money I'm spending, I'm out and I'm shopping. You talking that shit, well you talking to talking. Look at my options, look at me dropping. Ass in the game, like who are you stopping? Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. I'm way too clever.